Good August 13th morning, and welcome to God Hour. And thank you for tuning in, watching, listening, whatever the phrase is you kids use these days. The verse of the day came from the book of Nahum, or Nahum, I believe would be more correct according to the pronunciation guide on Wikipedia. Full disclosure, I wouldn't have been able to tell you anything about Nahum to start with, and what little information I have is gleaned from Wikipedia and such. But according to them, Nahum was a minor prophet whose prophecy is recorded in the Tanakh, also called the Hebrew Bible, and the Old Testament. His book appears between Micah and Habakkuk, and he wrote about the end of the Assyrian Empire and its capital city Nineveh in a vivid, poetic style. Interestingly enough, Nahum's name translates to comfort, from the same root of the Hebrew verb meaning to comfort. But we're not going to rely on Wikipedia for too much, because Wikipedia is not necessarily truth. I could put on there anything I wanted to until someone disputed it would be taken as fact, but whatever. Let's instead refer over to God's book and Nahum chapter 1. Now, I read it in its King James format, which I have. I don't think it's going to ring to my target demographic, which is the people with little knowledge of the Bible, but curiosity of the Bible, and perhaps even agnostic in general. So I'm going to go with ESV when I read this chapter. And 1 states, to the prelude, I guess, verse 1, an oracle concerning Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum of Elkosh. God's wrath against Nineveh. The Lord is a jealous and avenging God. The Lord is avenging and wrathful. The Lord takes vengeance on his adversaries and keeps wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and the Lord will by no means clear the guilty. His way is in whirlwind and storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebukes the sea and makes it dry. He dries up all the rivers. Bashan and Carmel wither. The bloom of Lebanon withers. The mountains quake before him. The hills melt. The earth heaves before him. The world and all who dwell in it. Who can stand before his indignation? Who can endure the heat of his anger? His wrath is poured out like fire, and the rocks are broken into pieces by him. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble. He knows those who take refuge in him, but with an overflowing flood he will make a complete end of the adversaries, and will pursue his enemies into darkness. What do you plot against the Lord? He will make a complete end. Trouble will not rise up a second time. For they are like entangled thorns, like drunkards as they drink. They are consumed like stubble fully dried. From you came one who plotted evil against the Lord, a worthless counselor. Thus says the Lord, though they are at full strength and many, they will be cut down and pass away. Though I have afflicted you, I will afflict you no more. And now I will break his yoke from off you and will burst your bonds apart. The Lord has given commandment about you. No more shall your name be perpetuated. From the house of your gods I will cut off the carved image and the metal image. I will make your grave where you are vile. Behold, upon the mountains, the feet of him who brings good news, who publishes peace. Keep your peace, O Judah, fulfill your vows, for never again shall the worthless pass through you. He is utterly cut off. Now, there's some very tough stuff in there. I mean, tough in the sense that angry undertones, intimidating. And I've heard people make the argument that if anger is a sin, then didn't Jesus sin when he got angry? And went in the temple and saw the money lenders, using it as a house of sin and gambling. Anger is not necessarily a sin. We all get angry, but we all sin. But full disclosure, I had a problem with anger. I may not come across as an angry person, but in the past I was. And I was sent court-appointed anger management, which, to their credit, to the instructor's credit, helped me greatly. But what I learned from that course was anger is not a bad thing in its own. It's only when anger is bottled up and allowed to build pressure that it escapes violently and suddenly. But rather than letting that happen, learn to use assertion. Assert yourself when someone wrongs you and makes you angry. Let them know gently that you're angry because of what they've done to you, and take it from there. Chances are they didn't even realize that they inconvenienced you or angered you, and will apologize, and you can go about your lives having soothed that anger. But we're kind of straying off the topic of this chapter. It says there in verse 2, the Lord is a jealous and avenging God. And now this is ESV, but it probably says something very similar in the King James Version that I prefer, as is my want. I haven't got to throw that in yet this morning. But, jealousy, that is a sin for us to commit. Anything God commits is not a sin, because it's counterintuitive. God doesn't sin. God kills people. Many times in the Bible, he's directly killed individuals. Many times today with natural disasters, people die. And that's just the way it is. But it also goes on to say the Lord is avenging and wrathful. The Lord takes vengeance on his adversaries and keeps wrath for his enemies. Well, if you think that you're supposed to do those things because God does them, you're comparing yourself to God, and you don't want to do that. I mean, as it says in the Bible, vengeance is God's alone, or God and his alone. We do much better to show mercy, show kindness, and let the ultimate vengeance and revenges be rendered by God himself. Pray for those that hurt you and seem to revel in hurting you, and know that God will take care of whatever they need in response in due time. To keep examining this chapter, and again, I am absolutely not an expert on Nahum. I've only really looked into the person, or even the book today. I've passed by it several times in the table of contents in the Bible, not really thinking about it. But when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing that Nahum is basically declaring that everything that happens in nature, in the natural world, and that extends all the way to the rest of the universe. But with an overflowing flood, he will make a complete end of the adversaries, and so on and so on. That is just evidence that, maybe not evidence to be precise in the scientific term of evidence, but it's attributing all the great powers like earthquakes, natural disasters, floods, so forth, to be within God's power, tools at his disposal, things he can use and does use many times. Like his wrath is poured out like fire, and the rocks are broken into pieces by him. I mean, I'm thinking of a volcano. The Lord's wrath being like the explosion of a volcano. And you can accept that the world was created. And I have no trouble with that, because I look at the world and I see a complexity that just doesn't seem to be randomly generated. But anyway, I've shared Nahum chapter 1. I shared a little bit of information about Nahum himself. And pretty much all of this has been new to me at the same time. It's time for me to start my day. That concludes God Hour. You all have a great day. God bless you all. Please reach out with any comments, questions. Subscribes and likes are always very highly appreciated. And see you soon.